Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Chancey again. This is going to be a quick little mini lesson with a focus on timelines and using timelines in social studies. So if you're anything like me, you might have some trouble keeping track of events in order. So I threw together this Jamboard, and it would be accessible to all of my classes online on Google Classroom to follow along with, to edit, look back at later. But going through this, we're going to talk about how we can keep track of events and how useful it is to look at history as a story. So, as I said, history is a story. We have a series of events. All of these events come in order. So this is like a chronological story. And we have our causes and effects, and we have multiple causes building up for bigger effects, right? The main difference being that in history, we do not have a set end. Every day that has passed is now history. So there is a lot of information to try and remember and keep track of. So timelines help us keep track of that time in order and are a great way of visually showing us what's going on in the specific time period, the specific locations that we're looking at in history. So we're going to use timelines to organize and remember our events in class. And we are always going to have timelines in our classrooms for our social studies classrooms because they help all of our students. And they help me as well keep track of what I'm talking about. So, to start off our class timeline, we're going to make one together. We are going to start with a topic that we're working on right now. So, our class is currently working on the road to revolution, right? That's an easy topic that we can start with. So, let's start the beginning of our timeline. It is easiest to start at the beginning. Now, this timelines obviously have no beginning and have no set end. Everything is infinite, but for the purposes of our span, we have a set beginning. So what is the earliest event that we can say contributes to the overall effect, which in the road to revolution would be the American Revolution? Anybody have a guess? So we're looking at the French and Indian War being the first effect, right? So I'm going to move this around, make it look nice. So this is 1754 to 1763. The ending of the French and Indian War is the real start to this road to revolution, the building conflict and unease between colonists and Great Britain. So if that's our starting point, it would be a bit extreme to start all the way at 1754 and go through the whole war. So we're going to start at 1763, make it a little easier for ourselves, right? So we're going to start at the end of the French and Indian War, and each board, so you've seen me go through a couple boards here, each board is going to represent a different year between 1763, right at the end of the French and Indian War, and 1776, right as we are declaring independence as a country, or as the 13 states. So to create our timeline, we're going to add all the details that we can remember. This is going to be a sort of review for what we're working on in class, right? So I want you to add sticky notes, images, drawings, whatever you can think of that goes with that time period, that goes with the event you're talking about. If you're talking about a specific event, maybe you made a sticky note, you can add extra drawings, you can write notes. All right, we're going to use our pen on the side. You can click and you can add images as well, right? So anything that you want to add that you think would be useful, as long as you're citing your work, or if you're using images, or you're writing it in a nice, neat, cute, cool manner, that's what we're going to go for. So we're looking for a visually appealing board that we would be proud to hang outside the classroom, hang it in the classroom for everyone else to see. All right, so we're going to work on this in groups. And we will take a couple minutes. I want you to take 2 minutes. Let's try this out together. We'll try this if we work with just 1763. Think of that one. Take 2 minutes. Turn and talk with a person next to you, your partner. What would you add to that board? What could we write for the year 1763 in the 13 colonies? All right. Could be anything, right? All right, so my board is not the prettiest, but it's not my final product yet, right? So I've already put up here the French and Indian War, right? Maybe I should edit that and write the end of the French and Indian War. Let's edit that. All right, end of the French and Indian War. I put that that Great Britain is in debt, right? We have the Proclamation of 1763, right? Easy one to remember the year that it occurs in. All right, so that has to do with colonists are not allowed to settle past the Appalachian Mountains. What else do we remember from the proclamation? There's a couple more details that we could add. We can add that only licensed traders can travel west to make deals with the tribes, right? What other details could I add? Maybe I'll make it a different color. We have why. Why did we have this proclamation? To avoid further conflict with Native Americans. Right, and we also have who put this proclamation in place? Who's in charge right now of the colonies? So we have King George. He's going to be an important player through King George. Wow. And that's the third, King George the Third. So he's going to be a character, an individual we need to remember through this unit, right? So let's move these around. We can make them bigger or smaller depending on what we think is most important or what looks visually appealing, right? So that could be our first board. I could also add some pictures. Maybe this board doesn't lend itself, this event doesn't lend itself to any cool pictures, but if you were including things about the Albany Plan of Union, you could use our famous cartoons for that. If you were writing about the Sugar Act or the repeal of the Sugar Act, remember you can use the cartoons that we use in class for those as well. So we're going to make these as visually appealing as we need. All right. Now, so this is group work, so we will separate to work on these. So table 1, your group is going to have these two listed years, 1764 and 1765. Table 2, table 3, 4, and 5, you have your listed years. We are just adding a new page, a new board, all right, and writing in your year. All right, so I could write, well, I don't want it to be that thin. Let's make a thicker line. 1764. All right, so write them in as you need. The board is on Google Classroom, so you're just going to click on it as your group, open it, and continue editing it as a group on your Chromebooks. All right, so go off, work on your work together. I'm going to come around to all the groups, and then we're going to come back and share these out together, all right?